let's start with the offense, right? That was kind
Mm-hmm.
of the positive of it all. Let's start there. Second play of the game, Mecca Buka takes a screen pass, goes 70-some yards for the touchdown. I mean, the blocking downfield was fantastic. I saw Seth McLaughlin like 15, 20 yards downfield blocking guys. I mean, that's the kind of effort, that's the kind of stuff I want to see out of this offensive line. Down the field, it's not just the wide receivers, down the field blocking, getting these guys open, getting them holes to get to the end zone. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, coming right out the gate, doing that, everybody was wondering, hey, where's Emeka Egbuka been? And he showed where he's been. He's right there, just ready and willing to make a play when his time is called. And I seen some people were saying this is the fastest that he's ever looked, and I'm like, no. If you remember, like us talking about them having dead legs because we weren't rotating guys in and weren't, subbing those guys out. And then you see the Georgia game, then you're like, oh my gosh, Emeka Egbuka has this speed. He's always had the speed, and I'm just glad that they were able to get him incorporated into the offense, man. It just shows the level of weapons that we have here at Ohio State. I think people just need to go ahead and enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, I think Mekabuka looks stronger. I think it looks bigger, and maybe he is a little bit slower. Who knows? But at the end of the day, he housed that thing, ran out everybody, and that's what you want, right? You want the blocking
Mm-hmm.
downfield. You want him to be able to get to the end zone. Quinshawn almost got caught on his as well, but that was even further. That was like 90, 80 yards or something like that. So had a little bit more time to catch up. But yeah, I mean I think the big plays is really the story of this game on offense. I mean, I think Marshall had the ball like at one point starting the fourth quarter, they had like 10 plus minutes of possession time, but Ohio State had 500 total yards to Marshall's like 220 or something
Yeah.
like that. Like it's just absolutely ridiculous how much Ohio State was just dominating on offense every single play, big plays, and even when they weren't getting the big plays, they were still moving the ball efficiently. It was just spectacular to see big play wise. You have any other thoughts on any other big plays, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, it was so weird to me, I guess a lot of people aren't happy that we got Jeremiah Smith. But man, I'm happy that he is a Buckeye because some people were
Mm-hmm.
saying, oh, he's getting locked up by the Marshall receivers. Boom. You look at him, goes out, makes a play, and they were just talking about it when they were doing the miles per hour. He had the initial burst to just go ahead, hit almost 23 miles an hour, and then just throttles down and jogs in. It's just amazing the level of athletes that we have. But I remember telling you all in the off season that, and probably like on the back end of the year last year, that this wide receiver core is going to be special because of the yards after catch that they will get. I think that was something that has kind of been missing in the offense since Chris and Garrett has left. Yeah, we have it every now and again, but we're seeing it every game, all the time. I mean, and like you said, the blocking downfield, the fact that these wide receivers are, I mean, sprinting to make the blocks for their guys, it's almost night and day from what we have seen the past couple years.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I love the blocking downfield from everybody. The offensive line is getting out there blocking downfield. Your wide receivers. We don't quite have Justin Fields running down the field like we did back in 2019, 2020 to block for his guys, but you still got a ton of guys down there blocking downfield. It's a beauty to see. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't all positive on offense. I do think we got to talk about a few of the negatives. First turnover of the season. Will Howard throws an interception, maybe trusting JJ Smith a little bit too much. I mean, that seemed like to me it was kind of like he was saying, JJ, go get it. But unfortunately, JJ got a little bit walled off. He was kind of towing the end line, the sideline there, so he didn't want to go out of bounds. But at the same time, I think that Marshall player just made a good play on the ball. Will Howard probably should have never thrown it. What were your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that I have been worried about is Will Howard on the deep ball. And I mean, it's a 50-50 ball. What they told Will Howard is to throw him. I mean, we've heard it. Ryan Day, they've said like a 50-50 ball to Jeremiah is more like a 90-10, or an 80-20 ball. So I mean, you're trusting him to make that. I do think that the throw could be better. I also believe that Will Howard has to be able to throw better with anticipation. I think that the ball came out a little bit late. I think if you go ahead and lead your wide receiver a little bit, I think JJ can probably come up with that ball. So and make an athletic play because that's what he is. that that was my biggest worry, something that I was hoping that they would work on. And then we saw it later in the game where I think again I was like, oh, he could get that ball out quick on that deep ball, throw with some anticipation, but he actually didn't. He looked right off of it, didn't even want any part of that after his interception. So it kind of makes me nervous. That is something that we're going to have to watch out for.
Yeah, and I definitely think like I'm less concerned about the deep ball concerns, not because I think Will Howard is a better thrower, but because I think this run game is so dynamic, and I think we saw that today with Quinshawn and Trevion. I mean, literally anytime those guys touch the ball, they can go for six. It doesn't matter where you're at on the field. It doesn't matter what defense is out there. I think both of those guys are strong enough and shifty enough, and they have good enough vision that they can take it for six. Now, does
Yeah.
that mean that we never need a big pass play? No, of course not. We want Will Howard to get better at that. We want him and the receivers to be more in sync with that. But I'm less concerned about it than I was before. But of course, it's Ohio State, so we never want to see anything not be good. We always want to see
Right.
everything be excellent. So we're not gonna we're not gonna act like it's not a big deal. Another piece of it, Mike, was Josh Fryer gives up a big sack on third down. Now I will say that defensive end had a really nice spin move. Klatt was just talking about him right before he did it, so it almost seems like Klatt knew what was coming. But it's a little bit of a concern to see Josh Fryer getting spun like that. He is a little stiff. What were your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, that was something, another concern of the offseason was wondering, did Josh Fryer get his footwork better? And I'm not sure that he did. It's going to be something that's a concern going in the Big Ten play. Hopefully he can get better, but maybe, that's teach tape. You learn from it and you move on. But my whole thing was our defensive ends not doing that? Like you have to have seen this before. What is the technique? Is he not trusting the technique? We heard Ryan Day in the past few press conferences keep talking about the offensive line. You're doing this against Talik. You're doing this against JTT and Jack Sawyer. Trust your technique. I wonder if that's the issue.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. It's a good point. Definitely got to figure out what's going on with Josh Fryer in that situation. I felt like he was pretty solid in run blocking today. I didn't see a whole lot of missed assignments or anything like that. So, I can't really critique him there, but definitely on a third down, you got to make sure you're locked down and not letting somebody get to the quarterback. And props to that. I think his last name was Green. Props to him on being able to tackle Will Howard in the backfield because that's been a hard thing for people to do so far this season. One more thing on offense, Mike, because we had somebody bring it up. I think. Oh, Steven brought it up. He says saying it to him is QB2 tired of parading Devin Brown out there. I have some thoughts on this, but Mike, I'll let you go first. I mean, it was only like what 6 passes, and this is kind of
Yeah.
garbage time, stuff like that. Any thoughts on Sayin and Devin Brown?
I mean, here's my thing. I don't think that there's any point of rushing saying there's things that he could probably still do developmental wise as well. And I mean, yeah, we seen him go out there. He had a couple good passes and things, but I mean, Devin Brown, is QB2, but you could just tell how vanilla it was when he's out there. I just don't feel like when Devin Brown's in the game, he's obviously not out there with the ones. So that, went all off season, he's been practicing with the ones for, getting reps and everything to figure out who's QB1. So that could also be an issue, him having to get chemistry with these other guys as well. Offensive line, backup offensive line, they need to, things to get worked on. They have some development to do as well. So that could just be part of it. I mean, I don't think right now that there's anything to worry about. Like if Devin Brown needed to be the guy, I think the coaching staff would figure it out. I mean, look at what Chip Kelly did to get uh Will Howard back in rhythm after throwing the interception. Look at how he got the team back with the momentum. So I just think Chip Kelly, he knows these guys' strengths, he knows their weaknesses, and really it just looked like the offense, we were just trying to get out of there. Because I do think that there were opportunities that could have been had, and I don't think we really tried.
Yeah, they were definitely weren't opening things up. They definitely weren't trying to, give Devin Brown opportunities, and I'm not blaming them by any means. There's some throws there. I mean, Devin Brown has to make those throws. There were a couple
Mhm.
screens, and he has to make those throws if he wants to solidify QB2. We'll see what happens in the future. I'm just praying that Will Howard stays healthy all season, and we never have to
Facts.
worry about any of this stuff because Will Howard. I mean, we talked about his deep ball and stuff like that, but he's a good decision maker, man. He is reading these guys. That's definitely something about him that I wasn't anticipating going into all this is how he's able to read the defense and make the right decisions. And so that's going to be difficult for anybody, whether it's Julian Say and Devin Brown, to go in and do. And that's something you definitely want to do well. We do have Doug Shepard Sr. He's asking about Donovan Jackson playing beside Seth for the first time. Did it affect the line? I felt like the line was pretty good today, other than maybe a couple times by Josh Fryer in the pass rush and stuff. And like I said, Seth McLaughlin was downfield blocking like 15, 20 yards downfield. I didn't really see too many issues with the offensive line today. What do you think, Mike?
No, I didn't see too many issues with the offensive line either. And to be honest, it just looked like I would say that left side of the offensive line, you can expect to count on them a whole lot in the running game. That's where Ohio State feels like their strength is. And I've seen, especially on those like counter plays, those guys on the left side, Donovan Jackson, he looked like he was out there wanting to hit people, holding guys up. I mean, that's what you want to see. And yeah, you could see like a little bit of, rust, things like that. But there wasn't a drop off on the offensive line. And that's what you wanted to go out there and see. Make sure that there was no drop off. Make sure everybody's going out there and that there's still some chemistry. And it looks like there's still chemistry out there to me. So shout out to the offensive line because they're the reason why we rushed for what over 200 yards. So, maybe what 300? Nah,
Uh,
200, 250 something.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the
It's
stats. The
over.
way that Fox does their stats is really weird, and of course
Yeah,
ESPN doesn't have any stats for this game because they're mad. 280 rushing yards total
there
in
you
this
go.
game. So,
Knew it was
yeah,
north of
nearly
200.
300 yards. That's good to see. Yeah, I felt like Donovan Jackson was the definite upgrade over Austin Sierreveld, and no disrespect to Sierreveld and stuff. He did well filling in for him, but yeah, he was not doing bad at all today for Donovan Jackson. I really like that duo between the two. So good stuff from those two together. All right, I think we should move on to the defense
Hold
here
on,
now,
before we do
Mike.
that, I'll
Okay.
say this. You know how coaches always say you want to be 50-50 when it comes to things on offense. 289 total yards in passing, 280 in rushing. That's basically almost 50-50, man. That's what you want, right? So go ahead, my bad. I just wanted to get that out there. I did want to say like we look like the balanced attack that we've been saying that we wanted to see all offseason.
No, I agree. I agree. And I think if you probably look at like the big play numbers, the number of big plays in the passing game probably are similar to the number of big plays in the running game too. So now most of those passing are short passes that, JJ and Emeka took really, really far. So it's not necessarily a deep ball, but still big plays on both sides of the ball or both ways passing and rushing the ball too. So